Welcome back to another episode of The Beat. Today we've got the sequel with the wonderful Caleb Jackson. How's it going, mate?
So good.
It's been about a year since we last did the episode. So obviously a bit's happened since then. Been pretty busy.
Mate, it's been eventful to say the least. It's been a journey. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that was probably the first time we'd met you.
That was the first time. Yeah, that was the first time we met you.
Yeah, that was, I think I reached out to you because you just had that USB thing.
Yeah.
You know,
that's right.
and I was like,
gate.
oh, I respect that. I was like, he's Australian?
He's trying.
He's awesome. That's all he's doing.
And it's all all of us are doing, to be honest.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously a lot to chat about, and a lot of things that I suppose we spoke about a year ago have come to fruition for you, and obviously a lot more in the pipeline. But you just got back from a 6-month stint in Europe/America. So how was all that?
It was crazy. Like I was saying before, it was like a magic carpet ride through some pretty insane situations. But yeah, mostly just really positive, amazing music, really good people. Just more than I could have hoped for when I left to go over there.
How did it all come about, the tour? Like, what was there sort of a catalyst for you saying, I'm getting over there, I've got enough shows in the bank? Or,
you know, there was like a moment where I was like, I was in bed and I received a message from Prunk, and he was like, are you going to be in Ibiza this season? And I was like, I can be. And that was the catalyst. You know, there was like an offer for a show to play for PIV, the Cova Santa venue, and that kind of got the ball rolling for me, and I ended up reaching out and creating a lot more opportunities off the back of that. Yeah. And
you obviously became part of Pitch Agency as well?
Yeah, Pitch. You know, I'm really good friends of them, legends, and had a release on their label. So yeah, Pitch have been one of my home labels for sure.
Big up, James.
Yeah, big up, James. James is an amazing guy. Love James.
With Prunk reaching out to you, did you have any comments with him just before that, or was it just?
Yeah, like a couple of years prior, I actually sent some demos to Chris Stussy, and Chris was like, "Hey, these are really cool, but I think they're more in the lane of Prunk." So
that was nice of him to.
Yeah. So he linked me in with Prunk, and then Prunk, something happened, and then Prunk actually reached out to me on Instagram, being like, Chris was saying that you've got some good music. And then I sent him some music, and he got back to me with like a crazy amount of feedback.
Wow.
And then it was just, for me, this is like probably like 3 years ago. And to be honest, the music, now I look back, was pretty shit.
It's still probably, I'm sure it's probably
and I'm like,
great.
wow, dude, like, okay. And then the relationship is kind of like, you know, edged along from there, and he's always been a big supporter, considering I'm just a dude from Australia, like a million miles away from everything.
For sure.
It's crazy when you think about the growth. Like, that was 3 years ago, and like since then you've really popped off. You've had like releases on like Microhertz and stuff, and so it just shows you like year on year the growth like you have to sort of in your rise up.
Anyway, we had a bit of technical difficulty, but I was just asking you if that Prunk and Stussy interaction was, I guess, the first time you've sort of had interactions with maybe some of the big artists in the scene, and thought that you can make a fist of it, and your music was sort of hitting the mark, I suppose.
Man, like, I really wasn't sure if my music was hitting the mark at this point. I felt so far away, but I was just taking a chance and sending music to people, and it definitely wasn't there yet, but they must have heard something in it. You know, and it was, definitely a couple of the first interactions I had with people who, for me at the time, were huge inspirations. You know, they were still, you know, they have come so much further than what that was back then as well. You know, Prunk, Stussy. I'd try to tell people about these guys, and they'll be like, oh yeah, those like small underground DJ dudes.
Our Stussy's a fucking global superstar.
He's a rock star.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's arguably the biggest in the house sort of scene right now.
I remember, maybe 5-6 years ago now, I had a couple of friends, and they were like, oh, we're going to see Chris Stussy at, I think he might have been, don't quote me, it might have been Good Bar, or one of those venues he was doing a show at, and that obviously is cool club, but it's not any big show by any means. But the growth from then to now, like we're just talking about growth with yourself, but it's crazy to see artists like that as well when you look back that far to where they are now.
Yeah. It just shows you, you know, if you're consistent and you stay true to your sound and you do something, you know, unique, it will find its moment. It will find its time, and you'll find your time, you know, within the scene as well.
So you were based out of Berlin, is that correct?
Yeah.
How was that?
I love Berlin.
Yeah.
Berlin, you know, it's a long way away from Bondi.
Definitely.
You know,
Yeah.
vibes wise and also geographically. But as soon as I landed there, I didn't know what to expect. And from the first day, I was like, this is definitely home for me. And what I love about Berlin is that, you know, you can go Amsterdam or you can go any of these other places, and, you know, it's amazing people, but the diversity is not really so much there, you know. But in Berlin, it's just so diverse. And then people are like, I guess, pushing the limits a little bit in so many ways that it kind of inspires you to go, wait a second, am I pushing some limits or am I just being safe? And so that's what's amazing about Berlin. Part of what's amazing, what's even better about Berlin is it's kind of like the beating heart of the music scene to me, anyway. Whenever I go back there from other places, you know, you walk into a club and people are just fully there for the music. No phones anywhere, nothing flashy about it, but the music's amazing, the sound is amazing, the settings, like the clubs. If videos could surface from these places, the world would flock.
Yeah.
You know, it just trumps Ibiza, trumps it to like.
I was going to ask you that question, but you've just answered it.
Yeah.
Ibiza, Berlin.
Oh my God! Like I remember,
Have a clue,
Ibiza is obviously everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's kind of like, it's definitely a good place to go as an artist to connect, and it's really amazing to play there. It's great for your career. A lot of amazing people there. But if you truly want to have an experience that's true to the reason why we are in this,
Yeah.
it's Berlin.
It's a very good perspective to look at it, actually.
Yeah.
When you think purely just about the music, it does make sense. I
The
definitely
music,
can see
the
that.
setting, the way that they do the clubs, the way they throw the parties, the general atmosphere, the respect on the dance floor. You know, I've heard a million other people rave about it, and now here I am raving about it. There we
You're
go.
that guy.
Yeah, I'm that guy. Berlin, man.
Do you think when you go back to Europe, you'll base yourself out of Berlin again? Because your missus
I'd
is
love to.
German as well. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
she's German.
Helps.
Helps. I needed her to
Translator.
help translate and help me like navigate the German ways, you know. So yeah, that was my ace in the hole.
Have you picked up the
I was
language?
about to ask him
Yeah.
that, eh?
I can say
Duolingo?
thank you.
Danke.
Danke.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Yeah, they say ciao and like that. I mean, it's a bit of in Berlin, a lot of people speak English.
Of course.
Yeah.
So if I was maybe in Munich or somewhere else, I would have to pick it up a bit more. But everyone's multicultural. And I actually didn't spend a great deal of time in Berlin. I was living there, but I was traveling most weekends for shows.
What would
So-
your day-to-day sort of life look like in Berlin when you didn't have a show on? You were just in the city, nothing really on as such.
Well, when I was there, I mean, I would wake up. There's like this amazing coffee shop just across the road. I'd go there and have like a bowl of muesli and a coffee.
Acai bowl.
Acai bowl. Yeah, essentially an acai bowl. And I'd find some like have like a zen moment, you know, with this, and then I'd go hit the gym because I had a membership there. I just had to do something for my body, you know,
Health
Yeah.
tokens.
health. And then and then it would be like, all right, so there's a day party on here, and then there's the night thing there, and then usually if I was in Berlin, I'd be like going to Heidi Gluen, which is my favorite club in the entire world.
Heidi
Gluen.
I haven't heard of
Hard
that.
to
Oh
pronounce.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Sounds like it.
It's this mythical place. It's the best. It's honestly the best. It's like where I would go every single weekend if I possibly could.
Is it house music?
Jeez.
Strictly house music. More focused on old school kind of styles of house music or original styles of house music so much, you know. And the culture there with dance music is, you know, you see everything's about the drop.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely.
It's all about how many snare rolls can you throw in, how many times can someone say, and here's the bass. You know, you know what I mean? And the culture with these clubs is that that kind of music doesn't almost exist because no one gives a shit so much about the drop. It's about the groove and the vibe.
Mm.
So the music's different, you know?
Yeah.
Old school.
More old school,
Yeah.
original house music, like more musical approach to it potentially and more groove orientated.
Yeah, I think I was saying when we had Ben Miller on the podcast, that the Germans, they just rave so well. Like it's it's so purely about the music, like
Mm.
no phones out. It's just like really good vibes. You never feel like, you know how sometimes with certain crowds you feel like a bit argy-bargy. It's just straight music and vibes there.
Yeah, it's straight vibes. And it's multicultural as well. Like there's a lot of Germans, but there's people from all over. People like, it's like the Mecca.
Yeah.
Of,
Ascent.
do the pilgrimage, and then they find themselves there, and it's like a bunch of like-minded people there for the music and understanding the etiquette and want to hear something fresh and new.
And you gave Berghain a crack.
I gave it quite a few cracks.
How is that?
Live up to the hype.
Okay, so Berghain is like, like in a video game there's levels,
Yeah.
and 99 is like the top one. Berghain is like 99 level of clubbing.
Whoa.
You know
That's
what I
a good
mean?
way to put it.
Level 99. It's like not in a good or a bad way. It's just like the max level of the music, the people that are there, the vibes on the dance floor, the energy in that space. It's kind of like it's uncomfortable and sometimes, and it's confronting and sometimes, and then it's beautiful and warm in others. There's a track by Man Van Helden called Flowers. It's like 9 minutes long. This chick played that track from start to finish,
Journey.
and the place exploded.
Really?
And this is the kind of patience that people have for good music.
Yeah.
In Panorama Bar, I had my mind blown. Different styles, Some was playing like disco, funk, high energy house music. I saw Gene on Earth there. It's just like it really is the pinnacle of clubbing.
I was always under the impression that it was just like strictly techno at that place. But
No.
yeah, seeing your story, you said it was I can't remember the word for word, but you said disco. You've obviously said it now as well. It's got a bit of everything.
Bit of everything, They also have the garden, which they open up in the summer, which is like a Mad Max-esque kind of like all containers and then like concrete slabs and then steel jutting out and then like walkways over the top of the dance floor. And it's like, but then there's like vines hanging down and then trees over the top. And then everyone's just looking like they crawled out of a dungeon.
Something from Hunger Games or
It's
something.
kind of like, there's not one single normal person in any view. There's no one wearing a bum bag over their chest with a hat like I'm wearing. Like, you don't look anywhere and you see like a normal human.
Yeah.
So everyone's a special case.
How many times did you go there?
I think I went like 4.
Did you get in every single time?
There's one time I didn't get in.
Did they just say not tonight? Not tonight, mate.
It was like 9. But I was with my friend, William Kiss,
Yeah,
who
yep,
ironically is a really amazing techno producer.
He is.
And I spent the night with him, supporting him at Watergate, and I was like, cool, we're going to go to Berghain.
How long did you wait?
We waited like 15 minutes. There was no
Oh,
line.
that's all right then.
I
At
know
least it
it's
was a
time.
short. I waited 4 hours and got denied. So
Well, yeah. I mean, that was a long and painful wait until
Yeah,
a very
it was-
painful, sharp stab.
get closer and like it gets more eerie as you get closer because
Everyone's
everyone's sort of
quiet.
chit chatting, and then you get closer and everyone's like, yeah, don't speak, don't breathe. And then
Yeah.
he was like, oh, how many? It was me and Angus McElroy. We were like, oh yeah,
Oh, you
He was-
guys are definitely not getting in.
Yeah.
and he was like, oh, how many of you? It was like 2, and he was like, ah, cool.
Yeah, it didn't matter how many
And then
of
he,
you there
and then
were.
he just looks around for a few seconds and goes, nah.
Yeah, they love to leave you hanging.
Yeah,
They go,
They get kicked out of that.
nope.
yeah.
They did that to me and to me and William. They sussed us both, and it was just a no. And we were just like, we walked away being like, I was like shell shocked. I was like, wait, what?
Me,
No,
no.
Yeah, exactly. And it's there's pretty much everyone wonders what it is that might stop you from getting into Berghain, and I think I have the answer. If you look like you might judge the people that are in there for being them, then you're not the fit.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
That's the reason why they're so hard on it. They don't want anyone in there who's going to look around and go, ha ha, like look at that person, or be
Yeah, for sure.
or make someone else feel uncomfortable about them being or expressing themselves.
Yeah.
You
That
know?
would make sense, to be fair.
Yeah.
Got
So-
a question about the place as well. Probably stupid one. Have they got food stalls?
Yeah.
Because obviously it's
Smoothie
open.
bar.
Oh, you
What?
can get food in there?
Yeah.
Oh,
What's
That's an interesting question.
That's funny.
There's a smoothie bar where you can buy food, and yeah,
Wow.
I've seen some pretty crazy things going down in that smoothie
I-
bar.
yeah, fucking hell.
crazy,
Eating
yeah.
in that gaff.
Yeah,
Jesus.
like you were saying before, the culture there. there was a guy we met in the line and we were waiting, and he was by himself, and he was German, and he said he would go there maybe once a month, but he was by himself, and he was on all sorts of gear, just there, just like didn't know anyone in there, just going in there literally to go dance his socks off, pretty much, like amped up and whatever he could. Like you would never see that in Australia, a place like that. They just like proper, just love.
Well, I guess it comes back to the whole judgment thing. I think if you went out on your own in Australia, you'd be severely judged. But if
100%. But I think you'd ever find people that just like generally to just go out by themselves and just dance because they want to go out and dance. Like we wouldn't get that here.
Yeah. It's the cultural thing of like there's a culture of this, you know, and it's deeply ingrained. And when you step foot in there, you feel like the years and years and years of raving that's kind of happened in there, and you could insert yourself into that situation easily solo, meet some people like really easily. But I always think that with Berghain, you could go there alone, but it's pretty full on in there, you know. So it's important to have like a support crew
I'd be a bit
to do it with.
Yeah, I'd be rattled if I went there.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do so well.
I'd be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, like when I say it's level 99, it's
Yeah.
taken me years of being like in rave culture and parties and festivals and understanding and becoming more open-minded
Yeah,
to get to a point where I'm ready to fully experience what's going on in Berghain. I've like, my mind is expanded enough to understand, you know, the 3 gay men in front of me in the bathroom that are all got hands on each other's dicks, you know what I mean? Or, you know, or someone else who's just losing his mind on the dance floor and just in his own world, you know, or the people that I don't really understand that are covered in piercings and, you know, or the other people over there who just aren't like me.
It's like the most free sort of form of expression in all sorts in that club.
Yeah, it's to the nth degree, you know, all the way.
So you obviously played some pretty cool gigs across Europe. Was
Yeah.
Fabric London your first one?
Fabric was my first show.
How was that? That looked pretty cool.
Really
Yes.
cool.
That was one of the first days of the trip, wasn't it?
I flew in on a Saturday and I played Fabric on a Sunday. Yeah.
Welcome,
Yeah.
fucking hell.
It was great.
Institution.
Is that with Rennie Peters?
It was Rennie.
Yeah,
How G. Love
yeah.
Rennie. She's just the best. We had chatted online a little bit, like not really planned anything. We're like, oh, I trust you. She's like, I trust you. Like, well, this is rock and roll, you know? And we had a great time. It was really cool because I met, you know, Danny Snowden and James View and, you know, a bunch of great artists.
Really sick artists.
Dope. Really cool UK artists. And we all just hung and it was a nice bonding moment. We had a really nice dinner together and we went to Fabric and kicked off the night and it filled up. And it was just like...
Yeah, the videos looked awesome.
It was cool. Really cool. The boys, everyone smashed it. It's nice.
What was it like playing in Fabric? Such like an institution, I guess.
You know, I once felt the same way about Lost Sundays. You know, I was like, man, I just want to play here. And I did. And it was surreal. And it felt the same way with Fabric. I'm like, I always wanted to play in Fabric. And then I did it. And it just, I don't know, it just felt good.
It's like we were talking about, there's always that next goal. You know, you're never happy with... Not necessarily you're never happy, but there's always that next thing to tick off. And sometimes
reach for the next thing.
Yeah, sometimes you also got to just take it in and think, wow, I'm playing at Fabric. I've played at Lost Sundays. I've done this and done that. Like it's...
well, you know, now that I'm having to pretty much compile my entire career and then submit it to US Customs.
Yeah.
I'm now thinking about all the different things that have happened. I'm like, okay, wow, there's a lot here.
Well, especially when you come back to, I don't know if that was in the recording, that first bit about, did we get the bit about Prunk and Stussy or did it cut out on us?
No, we got that.
The bit you were touching on about maybe 3 years ago when you first sent tunes to Stussy and getting like from then to now what you've ticked off, and then I suppose when in 3 years time, like you're talking about now getting visas and that sort of thing and doing tours more frequently, like to see the growth that you will be looking back on in 3 to 5 years is going to be even more so.
Yeah. I'm excited, you know, to see where things go. I have no idea where things are going to go. Just going to keep going. but we, you know, I'm moving. I'm working as hard as I can, and it's not necessarily work to me. It's effort. I'm putting in max effort, you know, and you know, I was just kind of like doing my thing for a long time, but now I have some true direction, and things are starting to get some traction now, like on a global scale. So I have a bit more of a direction.
Speaking of traction. So since we last time we spoke, you just received about 10 million downloads from Archie Hamilton.
Oh yeah.
And do you want to tell us a bit about, from that point, how your relationship sort of fostered and where it's at now? Because obviously some pretty exciting stuff's happened since then.
Yeah. I mean, like, Archie's one of these people that I always had the utmost respect for.
10 million dollars.
He's got like the ability to create different kinds of music. He's not just he doesn't just put out hammers. He can make beautiful deep stuff that's, you know, or he can make something that really brings women onto the dance floor, and he can make a club hit that all the dudes, you know, get stank faced to, you know. And I mean, I respected him for that, you know, for that artistry. And then obviously for him to pick up my music and everything was amazing. And then I was in London, sorry. And he was like, okay, I'm here to pick you up. We're just going to get breakfast together. And I was like, do you want a coffee? And I grabbed him a coffee, and there was like this moment where I jumped in the car with him. I was like, here's the coffee. And I was like, part of me was like, but then it was totally chill vibe of like, I felt like we were like on the same wavelength. You know what I mean? I felt totally comfortable with him, and we just, you know, we got breakfast, and then we went to Rinse FM Studios to record the podcast, and it felt natural and cool. And then as the season went on, you know, I left London and did some things and had a few opportunities to hang out with him in Ibiza, where we kind of like spent a bit more time together. And I don't know, I just, you know, it's like I would say that we're now at a point where we're like friends, you know?
Oh, friend.
I know, it sounds cute. Yeah.
Music friend. Yeah, he's an absolute G, Archie. Your Bassface EP, that came out, was it pretty shortly after you landed? Is my timeline correct?
That came out like the day I landed, I think.
Yeah. How did you feel the reception to that was? That was obviously a massive moment for you getting on a label like Microhertz.
The reception is still going. Like the aftermath of that EP is, I wouldn't say that it was a smash hit by any means. You know, I see a lot of other releases, you know, like pumping super hard. But what's nice about it is it just continues to deliver. People are still coming up to me being like, Bassface is my favorite tune. I listen to it on repeat. So yeah, Bassface just opened some doors for me, you know. And I think that it kind of like showed a little bit of what's different about my sound, but then also delivered as a club hit. It was a club hit, but it was also not only a club hit, you know. And the streams are still pumping on this bad boy. So yeah, Bassface, the EP definitely kicked things off in a big way for me.
Would you say that's your favorite release so far? Obviously it's hard when you've obviously ticked off a few big ones.
My favorite release is my Elrow release.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something.
Yeah, I actually still reference those like tracks. I go back and I go, okay, hang on, are things still sounding as good as these? You know, which is funny. You know, because I don't know, like I'm stoked with that release. It just went really well.
It's obviously a massive moment for you, because like traditionally you probably wouldn't say your sound is like the traditional Elrow sound as such.
No.
How did that all come about, getting to release on Elrow?
Dilla Swing just dropped me a message randomly.
You just say, send me some tunes.
He was like, what's up, bro? I'm like, just at the airport having a coffee, what's doing? And I think it was, I don't know who it was, but someone was playing my music. And then someone was supporting my tunes. Tony Varga, I think, might have been picked up my music, which was the Jam Hot EP.
It's a tune.
Yeah. That kind of opened that door. One thing leads to the other, always.
That was even getting played this summer. I remember, I think I sent to you the video of Stussy and Jamie back to back, and they played at the opening night or something.
Yeah.
Because that was over a year ago now, Jam Hot, wasn't it? That would have been a while ago.
Oh, yeah, over a year ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, a year and a half, maybe?
So to see it still doing the rounds from two weapons, obviously, like, it's pretty...
Still getting support. It keeps on jumping up a little bit as well. It keeps on popping back up again.
I'd be refreshing them stats a bit.
Well, I mean, you know, my Style and EP on Elrow went back into the top 10 again this summer.
Oh, wow.
Really?
That's sick.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it went back up again, which is pretty cool.
So
Like, holy shit. Yeah.
you mentioned before you did the in the Rinse FM studio, And then was it the recording? Did the studio get burgled or something like that?
Yeah, studio got burgled.
Yeah.
So we had it all recorded, like video recorded. We had the audio recording, which was lucky, but we had a video recording that was going to be released, and they got burgled and lost a bunch of their hard drives or something happened.
Shit.
And they couldn't deliver us.
That's such a nightmare.
Video.
Hey?
Yeah.
That'd be a kick in the guts because that's obviously a big moment of Rinse FM.
It's a big moment.
Back to back with Archie as well.
Yeah. Well, we didn't play back to back.
Oh no, that was
He played for an hour, then I played for an hour.
Gotcha. You nervous doing that or
Nah.
no? It's just
Light work.
another day in the life.
Yeah.
I suppose when you're gelling with someone as well, like you said, you were comfortable with him, so it wasn't like
It was chill.
yeah.
You know, I think the key is like, you know, it can be easy to get like starstruck or overwhelmed by the people you're around, but just keep it in, you know, they're all just someone like you at the end of the day, you know, just a little further down the path that you're passionate about.
For sure.
Yeah.
One of the gigs you played, I think it was in Malaga, looked absolutely mental.
Malaga.
Yeah, Malaga.
Malaga.
Malaga was insane.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what to expect. You know, it was hooked up through a friend of mine, and I flew in, and rocked up to the show, and I didn't know what to expect. You know, I'd never been on a Spanish mainland before, and the place was amazing. The beach club, Silencio Beach Club, was dope, and then everyone started to arrive, and everyone was like so cool and stylish and like good vibes, but I couldn't speak a lick of Spanish, and most of them didn't bother to speak English or couldn't speak English. So it was like this huge language barrier, you know. And all day I was there, and then I was on the closing set, and I got to the closing set, and my friend Jaime, who had booked me, was playing like it had been like reggaeton and other things throughout the day, and then they built it into house music. Jaime played.
He speaks Spanish?
Pardon?
He speak English?
He's Spanish.
He speak English?
He speaks English as well.
Gotcha.
And he played an amazing set, and I could feel the energy was like ready for some like more like juicier house rhythms. And so I was like, I got on, and I was like, and I was completely surrounded. It was 1,000 people, completely sold out. It was like behind me, all around me, and then all the way to the beach. And I got on, and I was like, I came in with a just like a huge anthem. I've got the name of the guy now. And from the get go, people just losing their mind.
Yeah.
Like it was like wall to wall jumping. Everyone was around like slapping my back. It was like sweat was flying on me. It was people like jumping over the booth almost, but they were like respectful and really quality like crew, like really good vibes, and from start to finish. And then the funniest thing is that at the very end, I was told that it was a hard cut at midnight. So I played the closing track, and everyone was like,
what?
well, everyone was chanting something in Spanish, and I didn't understand what they were saying. And I turned to my friend, "Hi, man, I'm like, what are they saying?" He's like, "Oh, they're saying one more track." And then the owner of Silencio Beach, he's like this gangster-looking motherfucker. He comes up, he's like, "One more track."
Oh,
and I was like,
say no.
"Boom!"
what was it?
It was a Ewan McVicker.
Oh, Tommy's something good.
Yeah, Tell me something good. Which I just had shortlisted as like a closer.
Yeah.
You know? And then I pretty much just hit play on the first beat, and from the first beat to the end of that track, which is essentially 7.5 minutes, the place exploded.
Fuck.
From start to finish.
It's always,
So
always
good.
good to be well prepared with those special tracks for like your closers and classic.
I have them like hot queued, ready to go.
Yeah, I've got a nice playlist of closers and classics that
Yeah.
just when you need that one track to just set the room on fire. That's
Definitely bring everyone back together again. Definitely.
Yeah, there's those tracks that just sort of everyone can understand and get behind. Like some people, whether you like a certain genre, there's certain tracks that it'll do it for everyone.
Totally.
It'll get the job done.
Yeah, even though they made like 30 years ago, some of them 30 years plus, and they still just hit the sweet spot every time.
Oh, so that's the artist is Bob Sinclair. Bob Sinclair,
Filthy.
like this guy. Like that was the track I kicked it off with. Bob Sinclair, Save Your Soul.
Save Your Soul. I've been playing. Yeah, I love that track.
I just keep bringing that baby back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Save Your Soul is a fucking tune and a half.
Definitely.
Yeah, big up Bob Sinclair.
Yeah.
So you had some other Spanish gigs, I guess, if you can class Ibiza as Spain. How was that? You headlined at Eden?
Yeah, no, I headlined a room in Eden, which was like this. It was like not the main room, but the side room.
Yep.
which is still an amazing space. But that was cool. Yeah, that was for a UK promoter. It was good. It wasn't it was an interesting show. I wouldn't say it was my favorite. I think the trick with Ibiza is that there's a load of gigs you can play there, but most of them,
not the right ones.
Not really what you want to be doing, So with Ibiza, you have to be with the right agency, with the right crew. Otherwise, you can find yourself just in all of these kind of like half-life places, So it was a lesson for me, to be a bit more prepared with my Ibiza bookings. Yeah.
Tick it off the bucket list spot. Played in Ibiza.
No, yeah, it's dope.
Take a photo in front of the airport sign.
Yeah. On my international tour.
You've made it as a DJ when you can take a photo.
Oh my God. I just and when I was doing the artwork to come back to Australia, to do and she was like, what do you want to call it? And I'm like, well, I'm fed up with all these Aussie artists saying that they're doing an Australia tour.
Yeah.
And they're just a bunch of like
local shows
and maybe a Melbourne date or something, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm all for bigging it up, man, but this is really stretching it. And for myself, I was like, I'm just coming back to some shows.
Yeah.
It's not a tour, so to speak.
We were actually having this conversation the other day. I was saying I feel like, as you said, all for big upping the shows you're playing, but I feel like if you're going to call it a tour, you need to like be hitting your key
hard
markets,
ticket shows.
not necessarily just hard ticket shows, but like you've got to be like headlining and stuff like that. I feel like if you've got a gig in Melbourne and you're opening and stuff and you're calling it a tour, I don't feel like it's doing complete justice to what an actual tour is.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
In my opinion. But yeah. So how have you been settling back into Australia?
I literally hit the ground and I played for you guys, which is
so
amazing.
was that day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was that day. I landed that morning and it was perfect. It was the perfect show to come back to. George, I'd actually been speaking to the A&R for South Records about a release, so it was really nice to meet him.
Legend George.
Yeah, George is proper one of the down-to-earth guys that so top legend.
He almost wrote me into a kick on like straight afterwards.
Yeah, mate, he had a wild few days. I think it was he got this. He had a big one in Melbourne, and then straight into Switch next day. Then he was kicking on to like 8 the next morning. Had to be up for like the boat at 10 o'clock, and then he was going to like early Monday morning.
He's full geezer mode.
Yeah. Was it Tuesday?
bad.
We went for dinner with him. But George.
You would have been hanging out.
Yeah. George tucked in.
I feel like he's one when it comes to music as well. Like he's just bang on with like he knows what like real just quality, just good. And that he was showing us. I'm not sure if you're across. He's got a group sort of collaboration project called Late Nights.
Yeah.
That stuff he was showing us was like crazy.
Class.
Like
very musical.
Proper music.
Yeah.
Proper music. So yeah, obviously going to see more come out from that. But yeah, that was probably some of the best music as far as like from a like he's usually obviously a dance music producer. I reckon that was probably like the best music I've heard from someone that's not in that world necessarily.
Yeah, he was going through it all, and we were just smiling from ear to ear hearing it. Like it's so refreshing to hear something different. It's not music you're going to play on the dance floor, but it's just music that you'll vibe to.
It's the music that artists will sample.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
yeah,
it's the music that you can do like a dance remix of. But that music gets the serious. That's what makes the serious money. It gets the streams and stuff like that. That's where it's really at.
Yeah.
End of the day, like you look at another.
Oh,
who would have ever thought?
It's crazy.
It's similar to what. That's
a little bit. Others should
similar.
be a little bit faster, but yeah, it is a lot like that where it's almost like it's pure music. It's none of this stuff you're hearing in the clubs. It's like it's the truest form of music. I kind of feel.
Yeah, there's a lot of fodder, that gets churned out that just sounds very similar,
generic, and
it works. And it gets a couple of plays. This is the thing about it. Like, when you're writing, it's like, well, am I writing to get them to be the next club hit and have a 2-week shelf life, and then everyone doesn't want to hear it ever again, or do you want to write something that might have a little bit more longevity? So I don't know what the code is for that. I haven't cracked it yet.
Still working on it.
I'd love to make music that had a shelf life.
I think
go on.
I'd say the point we just touched on before about music from 30 years ago, whether it's Armand Van Helden or any of, I guess, the classics, the tracks, I feel like they're all similar in the sense that as soon as they come on, you know what they are. Whether even if it's just the groove or they've got like even if it's like a synth that plays the whole way through, you distinctly know what it is. And the tracks actually have more like music, I suppose, in it. It's like doesn't sound digital. I guess over time, it's because music's become easier to make as such. When it's more computers and laptops now, it's become less musical.
Yeah.
Even I feel like the elements that are in it are so well defined. I think it's I Want Your Soul, the snare. As soon as you hear that one snare, you know that's I Want Your Soul.
I Want Your Soul, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with a lot of tracks today, you're not sure what it is till you might be like 8 bars in or something, whereas a track like that,
like I straight in my head already.
There's no, like a lot of the music these days, I suppose, doesn't have like a distinct hook that's going to carry for like a prolonged period. It's got something that's got to be cool for, like you said, like it's going to be a solid release and it might get some good streams and plays, but in 5-10 years, it's not going to still be there. Yeah, sorry, some more technical difficulties, but we were just talking about, Caleb was talking about how these days he's creating music with the aim of having more distinct hooks or parts of tracks that are memorable or more recognizable.
Yeah. My main thing is kind of like adding in something that takes it to a place where someone can really truly remember it, you know, or when they think back to that night, they can almost remember the melody or remember there was a sound or a style of breakdown. If it doesn't have a hook, then it needs to have something very unique about it. You know, Sugar is Sweeter, the Armand Van Helden remix. Yeah, but there's not a great deal of hook in it. But the way that the breakdown happens and then the way it comes back in and the drama in that track, super recognizable.
They're probably such great tracks to like reference as well as a producer. You can sort of look at those tracks. You could probably up your game by a lot. Definitely.
And it's like the balance of keeping simplicity, you know, whilst also having complexity, depth of production. So, and then also having like something that takes the track above and beyond just being some nice drums and a good bass line and a couple of samples. It needs to go a little bit further than that. And being on so many dance floors over the summer, you know, big clubs like Amnesia, I spent a lot of time in Amnesia and a lot of other places. And it was always the biggest, most beautiful moments was when there was a big hook came in.
Yeah.
You know?
So important.
Totally. I suppose all the classics and all the big, they're actually they're complex in the production, but they're actually quite simple as far as elements.
Yeah.
They're just, the elements they've got are just so, it's well put together, and that's what makes the track stand out so much and that people can resonate with it.
Totally.
It's not always jumping all over the place, not busy, it's just nice and clean, I suppose.
Yeah.
All the elements just gelling together well.
Yeah.
When you're getting in the studio, have you always got an aim of this is what I want to make today, or you're just getting in there and freestyling?
I have loads of ideas. Mm-hmm. I have like generally I come to the studio with like a vibe that I want to, like I have a bunch of experiences that I've had and energies on certain dance floors. So like for instance, like Amnesia Terrace for Paradise Party, I was there a lot and I could hear what was really connecting with the audience there, the way the crowd would, you know, really move, but also what works on that sound system, you know, those big sound systems. A lot of the detail gets lost, so what's important are certain elements. And so, you know, recently I was like, okay, I want to make some music that I would feel like would really sit well on that terrace, you know. And so I'm not only trying to technically fit what needs to happen for that sound system, but also capture the energy of that space. So that's how I start. I have an energy that I want to insert into a piece of music. So that gives me a bit of a start point. Yeah.
Are you able to share on camera some of the upcoming releases you've got? Because obviously we talked off camera. You've probably ticked about every big label.
Oh, yeah.
Up. Are you able to share a little bit about what you've got coming up? Or
Yeah, definitely. You know, I can't share quite a few because it's, you know,
of course,
still in the works.
In the works, and but yeah, definitely. Well, 2 labels that I'm going to be back on again this year, which I'm stoked to be back on, is Elrow, Elrow Limited, and Microhertz as well.
How did they both come back about?
Just because they like the last releases. And this is what it's truly about when you're releasing music. It's about building relationships and continuing to release with people that you appreciate. There is a culture of like, and now this label, and now this label,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
how many labels can I get under my belt? Well, the reality is like, maybe that isn't the best way forward. Maybe you should, most of the older records of the classics where people would work with two record labels most of their career and keep on building an audience through that record label. I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I'm just saying it's nice to be releasing with the same people again.
Definitely, especially when they're such top quality as well.
Yeah.
Two massive labels. I guess a lot of artists would dream of releasing on.
There's also these guys who have been amazing in America called House Hats.
Yeah.
Who I'm working on getting a tour going in America with them. And I have some music going to them as well.
Awesome.
And then there's 3 other labels who I can't disclose who we're currently working to box up EPs. So
Upper echelon of the music industry, we'll call
yeah,
it.
definitely. It's taken a long time to get here, but we're here.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I was say I don't think we touched on this last time, but obviously you've had quite a few. We just touched on the big releases you've had since then. I feel like a few people would want to pick your brain a bit about, I guess, maybe your processes within the studio. What sort of, I guess, maybe some advice you'd give to someone that's starting out with production, or maybe a bit lost or feeling a bit
Great question.
confused? I feel like it's a good time to ask you. Obviously,
Yeah,
you've had a lot of
definitely.
success recently, and I feel like a lot of people, especially within Sydney, be looking towards you as like someone
Beacon
to
of hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, beacon of
Batman. With the light in the sky.
Yeah, I'm like, guys, it's possible.
Especially
We
in
can
the
do it.
in the house scene too.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely a gap. Like I apologize for forgetting anyone,
No,
but I can't think of anyone that's consistent in releasing on top-notch labels in the way that you are from Sydney.
And on
I
the
suppose.
Apart from maybe Litmus.
and on the
Litmus,
trajectory like you're on.
Man, thanks for the compliments. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's now I look back, I'm like, things are going pretty well. What kind of advice can I give? I'm just like, man, like my music has by no means been popular from the beginning. I didn't just make tunes and send them out and people were like, oh my God, yes, I felt like initially people, like my style was quite different, and different in many ways. And it took like 1 or 2 people to pick it up and then release it. Like my friend Carlo, who has a label called Adderall, who's from Berlin, and he believed in me initially. And then it was James from Pitch. And then the sound kind of started to resonate. And then now people want to hear more of it. And I've just done my own thing. I didn't really, I didn't try to replicate anyone. But I mean, I was inspired by certain people. And now it's all led to a place where it is now, where like, I feel like I've got my own sound, and people want my music because they want my own sound, not because I sound like someone else, which has taken a long time to get there. It wasn't like an easy route. I had to stick to my guns. So I feel like as producers, I think if you've got crazy ideas, if you've got weird ways of doing things, if you've got a sound that you're not hearing yet, but you've got it in your head and you want to put it out, just stick to your guns.
Just do it.
Just do it. Like, do it the way that you feels right for you. And like, keep fine tuning that, get better at your craft, learn constantly. I can, even on Instagram, I learn so much. Just follow all these pages that constantly have tips, and you can constantly just have a feed of information coming your way. Follow all your favorite artists. It's important, to see all the different music that's getting played and hearing things. But I think, stick to your guns on what you believe is good, and then if you're a DJ as well and you're playing music, anonymously test that music. Don't send it to your friends. Don't ask your homie, is this good? Because he might have just listened to the Taylor Swift album, and he's basing what he thinks is good on, and then he's giving you advice on what you're doing that might actually detract from your overall creative process. So believe in yourself. I wouldn't say hold it all to yourself, but just be careful who you let influence your creative process.
I think that's actually that's a very good point to touch on, I think, because I think a lot of creatives too, especially maybe people that are starting out I suppose any stage of the journey, if you're sending to maybe a few different people, everyone's got different ears at the end of the day, and no one's got the vision for the track that you've got with it as well. So it can be quite deflating maybe if you think something's really cool and you send it to people and they're not as into it as you are.
Yeah.
And it's just like a big, I suppose, the big head fuck of the whole thing as well. Like the whole journey is just up and down, and it's like a constant, I guess, battle with like motivation and that kind of thing as well, being a creative. Do you find that's been a factor for you? Always
like, you got to be doing it for the right reasons, you know? You can't be making tracks because you want to hit this market. You know, you got to be making music because you love what you're making. It needs to come from the right place. You know, it's easy to start getting swept up and being like, okay, I need to hit these goals, you know, like, especially when you become a full-time artist and all your security, you know, depends on the success, you know. So I think it's important to stay true to your sound, you know, and then just make music because you're inspired by the environment, you're inspired by your love for other things musical, you know, and then take all of that and just channel it into your own productions, and then you make the best shit that people are naturally going to resonate with. I'm even a bit woo-woo about it. Like, I believe that your energy that you had, you know, that you were carrying during that period when you were making it is somehow, you know, becomes a part of the music, and it goes on to affect other people, you know, because I get a lot of feedback on things, and people come to me with, you know, how something made them feel and where they were listening to it. And it's crazy how much it resonates with where I was at when I made the music. So there's something deeper beneath the level of like, that's a banger, there's something more.
I think was it a scene Archie might have said about you. He said something like you can, I think he played the tunes on his radio show or this a while ago, and he said something along the lines of, you can tell he has fun when he makes these.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I should sample that and just put it in another track.
Right before the drop.
Sample Inception. Yeah, no, and I do. Like, I have so much fun. I'll be there at like, say for instance, I was at bed at 3 a.m. this morning, finishing a track that I had been working on I've been working on the details of this, trying to get something like truly unique going on, and I finally hit my flow in it, and I was like, I'm just going to go all the way through to the end. And I was 3 a.m. in bed, and I was like...
I do enjoy seeing on your stories, and you're just jamming out on your stories.
Yeah.
Makes for good content.
Yeah.
Everyone can see how much like you really do love it.
Yeah, no, I truly love it, and it brings me so much joy. Like, you know, I used to be, still am very, very geeky, you know, like I'm super dork when it comes to so many things. And when I was a kid, I used to be a big time gamer. Everything I've kind of done, I've put 100% energy and geeked out over, essentially. And music production has just absorbed all that geek energy, you know. So harnessed all of that geekiness and just like inserted it into something. And what's nice about music is that you can take all of that energy and you can pour it into something you love. And at the end of it, you might have a product that might positively impact someone else, potentially.
Just on the topic of advice, because I'm sure probably a lot of young producers and people just starting off would like to know, in terms of like strategy, where do you recommend they start? That they've made their first few tunes. Where would you advise like they send it to? How do you think they get their first track signed? Is there any advice you could give them there?
I mean, I can give a little bit of advice, but everyone's journey is different. I think starting from the start, I think you just need to focus on getting the quality up. I would get a lot of demos from people, and they're like reaching for the stars, you know, before
solid grooves off the first bat they're aiming for.
Yeah, and I was just like, so a piece of advice I gave to someone is like, okay, you want to release on Hot Tracks? Cool. Drag a Hot Tracks, the biggest, best Hot Tracks track into your DAW, your program, and A/B it and go, is my track fatter and cooler than this? And until it is, don't send the music to Hot Tracks.
Yeah, you've got to humble yourself as well.
Like the best thing to do is just to, you know, become undeniable with your craft. You know, get yourself to a point of quality that people can't deny that it's great. And, you know, there's an artist that I recently discovered called Collier. He's like a UK artist, and he just played after me. He's like pretty new, you know, to the scene and stuff. But I listened to his music and I'm like, this dude's shit is dope. Undeniably sick productions.
I have to check him out.
You do. He's gonna
Shout
go.
out
He's gonna
Collier.
go a long way. You know?
C-O-L-A,
Just
K-O-L-A. How do you spell it?
COLLIER.
Shout out Collier.
Yeah,
He just had a release on Hot Tracks. You know?
wow.
Oh shit.
So he's doing.
The dude's got 1,500 followers on Instagram or something. You know, like
Really?
it's not. You know, all of the things that you think were important to make that happen
We're not.
didn't matter all of a sudden because the music was that good.
Mm.
So all I can say it is that, you know, as a producer coming into the scene, get good at what you do, like to the point where it's undeniably good. And then all of the other things that you worry about won't matter anymore. Obviously, he's met the right people and he's sent his music out to,
Yeah, of
he's
course.
done all other things going on. But, you know, I think there's so many people that are just trying to shortcut to success without having a great product. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to like come with their half-baked ideas and market it into happening, and it's still just shit.
I feel like for someone like Collier, it sounds like it goes back to the saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get kind of thing. Like it puts you in front, like you work hard, you're going to get put in front of the right people just by working hard. The more opportunities are going to come from it.
That too, you know, and I really saw this when I was in Ibiza, you know, you see all the people that have been like networking and grinding and marketing themselves for years and years and years, and they're like, yeah, they're getting there. But then you see the people who have undeniably amazing skills and are also just really nice people, and they skip all of that, and they go straight to the top, you know, and here they are, you know, they're playing the terrace big time.
Yeah, that'd be something.
Yeah, take for instance Luke and Max Dean, you know.
Yeah.
These guys are a good example of like undeniably sick tunes.
Yeah.
Obviously really, you know, nice people as well. This is the other bit of advice too. Everyone that I met who has had longevity in the scene, who's at the top and is going further or staying at the top, was a really nice guy or a girl. Nice people.
It's what you want to
Goes
see.
a long
to be
way.
honest. Yeah.
I think that's just the key to success. Like that's the key to longevity, because I see a lot of people, they get big, you know, and because they've got great music or whatever, and then they just like turn people off the wrong way,
Yeah.
or they do something and the ego, all of a sudden people go, you know what, we're not working with that guy anymore. And that's a ripple effect. And then eventually you don't see them they're not part of the scene anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
we've touched on that quite a bit from our experience in the scene. People we've dealt with, you always feel like, as you said, the people up the top, they're there. They've been there for so long, not just because the music's great, but because they're great people. People want to work with them again. But then there's sort of those mid-level people that are coming up. They're on a bit of a hot rise, and they've got all this ego, and they think, you know, they're entitled to certain things.
The scene's built on community as well.
Yeah.
So the more, I guess, like if you're going to be a dick to people, then it's going to turn people off. Like the scene's literally built on music and vibes. People
Absolutely.
coming together. So it just doesn't make sense to be a dick or to get, I suppose, on your own high horse. And I suppose things can turn real quickly too. Like just because you're getting a lot of bookings 1 minute, it doesn't mean 6 months later you're not dried up if you don't keep foot in the pedal or if you piss the wrong people off. So it's a very cutthroat industry, I suppose, in terms of that too. So you got to, just be a good person, I guess.
That's the thing, man. Like it can all happen so quickly, and can also not happen so quickly. And I think that's the other thing too. Like, well, you need to be doing it for the right reason. If you're doing it because you want to be like a rock star DJ, whatever, and have all this attention, then you know that's a fickle place to be. You know, that could come and go so fast. But I think when you're doing it because you just want to share music that you're super passionate about and made it from a special place, then at the core foundation, you're doing it for the right reasons. So when the popularity comes and goes, or it peaks and troughs, then you're all good. You're not getting like, you know, depressed when shows aren't rolling in. People aren't, you know, raving about you or whatever.
Yeah, I think just on that point too, I think it was Rossi recently. He was in one of Josh Baker's vlogs on his YouTube, and he was saying it's only, I think, the last year or so that he's like all of his shows pretty much consistently have been busy. It's crazy to think, like, we were seeing Rossi at Sash, be 2 or 3 years ago now. That was Ram. That's obviously a market a long way where he's from, but for an artist like him who's been like at pretty high up in the ranks, I suppose, for a number of years, to only just be getting to a stage where no matter where he plays, he's going to have a full house, so to speak. It's pretty crazy, and like things can turn very quickly.
It's pretty intelligent how he's done it as well. You know, he created the homegrown thing, created his label. You know, he created the party. He was the head of the party. He created a really like positive community around himself, and that's what really, you know, I know a little bit more about what happened behind him because the marketing team at, you know, Microhertz are good friends of mine, and they kind of keep me up to date with it all. And there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes by other people to take these artists to these places. But at the heart of it, he's just probably a really nice guy. I've not met him yet, but I'm sure he's a cool dude.
Big up Rossi.
Big up Rossi.
So back now in Australia, you've got quite
Yeah.
a big summer lined up. Do you want to tell us what you've got planned?
Yeah. Okay, so I got Halloween.
Okay, so I like that.
Yeah, I'm just like, in
Where
my
do
head,
we
I'm like,
The calendars
what do I have going on? It's like I've been in a vortex the last 3 weeks. I've just been writing music. I've been focused. I've been taking all the energy from that crazy summer and then just pumping it into tunes. And I also need to box off all the EPs, you know,
for the upper echelon.
get them done, you know, and scheduled. So while it's still a little bit cold here and there's not like a great deal of distractions, I've been working super hard. But yeah, I got some good shows. I'm going to be going down to Kiama for a party. I'm playing back to back with Jackie,
Sick.
long-time friend of
There'll
mine.
be some great tunes getting around
Gee.
there. Yeah.
And then I'm playing a headline show for Sutra
What a party.
for their Halloween party on the 2nd, I'm pretty sure, of
The
November.
morning
Courtyard?
slot,
Most,
like AM.
most likely,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'll be sick.
I'll be
Halloween will be fucking mad.
Yeah.
rolling them with a coffee
Yeah.
if
Or
I'm
still
not already
going.
there.
Yeah.
You'll still be there.
Uh,
You'll be there early.
I don't know, man. I'm like taking a little bit easy at the moment, you know. Not committing to any, you know, 14-hour raves. So we'll
Yet.
see.
Yeah.
We
Brothers.
will see. And then after that, I'm hosting a night at Chinese Laundry, Caleb and friends, and just a bunch of, you know, friends of mine are playing on that one as well. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to make that a more regular thing, and you guys begin call up.
Yeah,
So
that'd be
Sick.
nice.
Yeah, that'd be mad.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
And then obviously you had the Newcastle gig. Was it the week after Sash? That looks fucking wild.
Oh my god! Like, okay, so that was a headline show, and I rolled up there with zero expectations, not really knowing what the whole thing was going to be like, and didn't know anything about it. And it was like apparently the best venue in Newcastle, and the promoters were amazing. The organisation was great, and it was sold out, like 750 people in a courtyard, and it was amazing energy. And I had all these people holding up their phones, being like requesting songs that were my own songs.
That's got to
Oh,
be a
man.
good feeling.
You know,
Yeah.
and people coming up being like, "Oh, can you play this track? Oh, can you play Slept Out? Oh, can you play, you know, Party Plasma?" Yeah, you know, so I get so many requests for my own music in places like Newcastle, which is like crazy to me. And then I realized that Newcastle was like where a lot of people who go to Lost Paradise come from.
That's
Ah,
true.
Oh,
Yeah.
of
So,
course.
yeah.
Makes sense.
The community that go to Lost Paradise, and
Shout out Newcastle.
shout
And
out
was it
Newcastle.
Odyssey presents the brand?
Odyssey presents.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shout out Odyssey.
Yeah,
Yeah, I seen the videos. I was like, fucking hell, that looks really fucking good. Everyone was like really getting into it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Big
It's a
up Odyssey.
good crew up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Big up. And what else do you have what else coming up? So you've got Halloween, then what's the plan, I suppose? Is there any more festival plays? Obviously last year you had Beyond the Valley on the beach.
Yeah. So Beyond the Valley, I'm not going back to Beyond the Valley this year. My big show over New Year's is going to be Lost Paradise.
Yep.
I'm playing on the 28th when it's just
Opening party?
one stage.
That'll be-
fucking
is
going
That
off.
that'd be
That's
right
best.
before Salter.
Before or closing, don't know yet. I'm like working with them to figure out what we want to do.
What would you rather?
The closing,
Yeah,
for
fucking
sure.
hell.
We
Yeah.
can swing that.
Yeah.
I'll pull some strings.
Let's go, Jimmy.
Come
Yeah.
on, Jimmy.
I'll be like Jimmy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see. But that's probably going to be, because it's the night where it's the one stage. It's going to be really good energy. It's always good energy on that first night.
100%.
Yeah.
Chocolate block.
Yeah. Looking forward to that, man. Otherwise, there's like a string of shows. stuff's still coming in like hot and heavy. I got 2 shows at Lost Sundays between now and the new year.
Some big shows coming up there.
Yeah, some good ones. And then in the new year, things are popping off big time.
Excited to see.
Yeah. Well, all those people that you know are coming from, from other side of the world to throw parties here, then, yeah.
It's exciting for the Australian scene.
It was really cool. Australia, and this is something that, like, I really realized when I was abroad, is that Australia are in this kind of, like, bubble, listening, to a certain style of music, this, hard, fast, ravey stuff. Honestly, doesn't really exist anywhere else in the world. I didn't come across it once when I was on my travels. I know it exists. There's like pockets in Amsterdam and places where it's, it's thriving, but it's a very small thing. Europe seems to be really thriving on not slow, but not either fast. It's a bit more like, even like disco house in the form of another is like moving huge tickets.
Yeah.
The music there is seeming to be a bit more musical and a bit more inspired, and so I can imagine that probably like a year or 2 from now, Australia will catch on with what's happening over there.
Look forward to us swinging back around.
Which would be nice, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a lot nicer for
definitely.
us in this studio. Definitely.
For us, especially, for the house heads amongst us,
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was just saying before. Like, it's hard to think of many artists, maybe, like outside of Litmus, that have sort of really been able to consistently hit the bigger labels. Like from Oz, it's hard. Little Fritter, like he does a bit of both, but he's done Hot Creations or Hot Tracks. William Kiss, another. But there's
Yolanda Be Cool Boys has been there for a minute now.
Few and far between, really. Like acts that have come up in the last sort of few years, and I think a lot of that obviously is due to, like we were saying before, the whole thing with people, I guess, not wanting the groove so much as they want the quick hit, I guess.
They want the quick hit, and it's like guys like there was a night that we had in Ibiza at Pikes, which is a
infamous
fantastic spot to go out, boys and girls.
Was that for Sarah Story's event?
Yeah. And it was a bit of an Aussie crew. I'm actually a Kiwi, but
you're an Aussie, right?
Yeah, I've been claimed. But no, it was me, it was Luke, Jordan Brando, and William Kiss, like all there together,
squad.
And it felt really nice because we all are in a bit of a different sound. Luke is doing his thing with DJ Tennis and these guys and Chloe Calais, and William's more in the percussive kind of like groovy techno world, and I'm just like over here in the house stuff. And all of us were individually in Europe for career stuff, and it's just awesome to see like everyone over the past couple of years is just their trajectory has led them, and led us all to the same night.
Let's all to Pikes.
Yeah, let's all to Pikes, and we're like,
all roads lead to Pikes.
Should be a movie name or something.
All roads to Pikes.
All roads to Pikes. I mean, it's a great spot. Like it's my favorite spot on the island, actually. Yeah.
Love to check that out next time.
What side's it on? I haven't been to Pikes.
It's actually near the Badlands.
Oh, yeah.
Of San Antonio. Hence the Badlands. But it's a vibe. And as you're driving in, it has a huge sign that says VIP is a loser concept.
Fuck, I love that.
Right,
yeah.
That's sick.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There you go at the door.
It's just like initially it's quite chill. It's like around the pool kind of thing, pizza and cocktails, and then you're like, is it going to kick off? Don't know. And then it kicks off. Next minute, it does indeed kick off. I assure you this. So yeah, definitely.
And your sub-label, Cutter Rug, you started this year. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, what the direction is, why you wanted to start your own imprint, I guess?
Okay, so I was working with Sweat It Out, A&Ring for them, and I just had so much music coming to me because, through my world and my scene, and I was like, these are sick records, but they're not quite right for Sweat It Out. They're not tech house or commercially viable enough, but they're really cool and from artists that I believe, given time, can really go a long way. And so we started Cutter Rug to really cater for this pocket of sound, mostly here in Australia, giving Australian producers an outlet, whilst also pairing them with international talent. You know, so it's kind of like the concept for me was a lion and lamb, was to go
Cool. I like that.
to one or two, you know, producers that are at the beginning of their career with one or two that are a bit further down the path, you know, so that their, you know, that release kind of reflects the music, the quality is the same. It's just the artists are at different points in their career. So with Cutter Rug, it was like, the idea is just party starter, good energy, uplifting, groovy, funky, just like dance floor shit, you know, and from artists that were like friends or artists that I admire, you know. So the goal is to just keep doing, you know, a release every 2 or 3 months, and every time, like for instance, I have you guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Run it up. This will be out by the time.
yeah. Everyone stream by.
Get the streams up.
yeah. But I mean, they're both sick tunes, you know,
Thank
from
you.
you guys, and you're both very talented producers. And Sean, I've seen you, you know, really go from strength to strength fast.
Hey.
Someone
Help.
that I've seen probably grow the fastest is you with production, which
Hey.
is super
I'll
impressive.
take that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and so you
How
know,
much did he pay you for that comment?
Sean's holding a knife under the table.
He doesn't
he's
leave
yet,
here.
he's yet to get the invoice.
The brown envelope's coming.
You really truly owe me now.
Thank you.
No, but you know, and then obviously Fetty, you know, Fetty is a weapon producer, and the track that he's putting on it as well has been one of my absolute, like, I'd play it every set, you know. So, and it works every
It's a
single
sick
time.
tune, yeah.
Every single time it works. It's a guaranteed banger. So yeah, that's the focus, and you know, it has the power of the machine of Sweat It Out behind it.
Yeah, great team behind it.
That can get it to the right people. I was at parties in Europe hearing the tunes from the last one getting played around.
So you know the quality's there.
So I know that. I mean, Jamie
Yeah.
Jones played
Funkadelic.
Funkadelic
Yeah.
Relic. You know, it's
That's
me
a
and-
tune, that one.
That is
That's
such a
sick.
tune. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out
Yeah.
to the Firza boys as well. They're fucking crushing it.
I know. You know, I'm not clairvoyant, but I will say that I did foresee this with them.
Yeah.
Because I got their tunes and they hadn't really launched their thing yet, and I was rinsing their stuff here in Australia. Like I was playing it, like I'll play like 5 of hers tunes
Yeah,
back to back,
that's so good.
you know. And I was like, damn, these guys are gonna go a long way. And then when they did release their first release, it went boom, #1. And then after that, they've just been hitting the mark every single time, you know. So
It's quality.
Yeah. A lot of the times when I'm referencing a track, I'll use like something Firza has made as a reference.
What's the
They
depth to it as well?
yeah, I mean, their productions are, you know, I think what's a strength for them is that there's 2 of them, right? So one of them can always hold the other one accountable, being like, hey, it's not quite right. This could be
That's-
better, you know. Bouncing it between the 2 of you into the point where it's perfect, I think, is the secret sauce for those 2. I've spoken to them about it, you know. One of them will be like, that lead isn't quite where it should be, or that vocal isn't quite matching with the thing. And you can hear the work that's gone into these records before they even go out for demo.
They're obviously going from strength to strength. They won the Ants competition, which is massive.
I was there for that, actually.
Oh, are you?
I rocked up to
would've been
that.
cool.
Sweated under the sun in front of the stage.
Oh, it's so
Stinking
hot
hot
at
there.
Ushuaia. What was it we were there for? We were there for Ants, and
Yeah.
it was so hot that day. We got in there early because Bastion Buck sorted his
Yeah.
tickets and went down to watch him, and they were handing out fans, which lucky they were because
Oh,
there's no shade there.
so
good thing the water's cheap.
That's
Had
criminal, eh?
had to mortgage the house just to get a couple of bottles of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking.
I'm
Wouldn't
like,
trade
just
it.
take my arm.
And you can't even refill them either.
No.
Oh, that's the worst bit.
Yeah, that's a
Wouldn't
punishment.
trade it for the world though, would you?
No, where was it? I think it was Eden actually, and they don't even have bottles of water. It's a cup of water you get.
Ken. Oh,
no,
Destino.
no. I think it was Eden. It was a cup. It was a cup of
Nah.
water. I'm 99% sure it was Eden, and it was like €14 for a cup of water.
Destino
Real.
with the cans as well. It's
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah. Sort it out, Ibiza, please.
Oh, that's how they
We
make
still
their
love
money.
you
They
there.
love you.
Yeah,
but
we'll go back all the time.
It's the love-hate relationship. You know, not hate, but it's
There's
the
no
love.
hate.
It's the love. Okay, you know,
It's a relationship.
It's a relationship. It's a relationship. Like
Toxic boyfriend.
I can,
You just can't get enough.
Yeah, just keep coming back for more.
you know, when you've experienced, like when you've had experiences like, you know, like there was a festival that I went to called Garbage, which is actually, you know, spelt Garbix in Poland. And it was one of the best experiences festival-wise I've ever had. It was just everything that you would hope and dream of in a festival. Vibes, the music, the energy, you know, and then you're like, wow, this is a truly beautiful musical experience with a truly amazing community, a global community that come to this thing. It's like 8,000 people, you know. So when you like do that for like 7 days and everyone's just like homies and friends and everything's just flowing nicely.
Life is perfect.
Life is perfect. And yeah, it was just like really positive and reinforced. And then you go straight from that, you know, I flew straight from that and I flew straight to Ibiza and I landed and I was like straight into some super club where it was like, I felt like cattle class, you know. Well, even though I was on VIP, it was kind of like, you're like getting through, like getting hustled and bustled, and security like no, and then someone's like yes, and you're like and then like, you know, and then you're getting like sweated on by like 5 English dudes without their shirts on, and you're like looking through the crowd, and you have to wedge your way through all of these dudes who are like sweating, no shirt on, just peeking, and you're like. Okay.
Yeah, you just gotta keep saying sorry as you walk
Kind of
past
like an
everything.
intimate moment, you know. You're like sharing bodily fluids.
I had someone try and pickpocket me once when that was happening. We were squished up at Amnesia. You know, you got to get through the first bit to get into the terrace.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was like there was obviously the big confetti was about to happen, so everyone was like squished right up. And I'm like trying to get past him, whatever. We actually speaking to each other in the thing, going, "Oh, this is fucked," pretty much. But he was, yeah, pretty much. I had my hand over my bag, and he's trying to reach into it, and I felt it. I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, no."
I thought that was my pocket.
Yeah,
Hey, bro,
fucking
it's
hell.
just the hustle. Don't blame me.
We're trying to bond here over how busy it is, and
Man's
you're trying
working.
to rip me off.
Yeah.
Respect the hustle, though.
Respect the hustle, man. Like, yeah, I someone warned me as well. I was in like DC 10, and I was walking through the crowd, and like I was just like, yeah, just make sure you got your phone isn't everything's zipped, and you're walking through these crowds, and someone's gonna like pickpocket you for sure.
They're good at what they do.
Yeah,
The greatest.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for chatting. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
no
Thank you.
worries.
It was a pleasure.
Great to
thanks
catch
for
up.
coming back
Yeah,
on.
Welcome home.
Always a pleasure coming back, and I actually like miss, you know. I guess it's one last thing to touch on. The amazing thing about Australia is that people are so silly.
Yeah.
You know, they're having so much fun. They're really there for the music, but they're also just like bringing a lot of humor. And like you go in Europe, it's great. There's nothing bad about it, but it's like people go to be entertained. Here in Australia, people are the entertainment.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
take a piss out of each other.
As much as they're going to be entertained,
Yeah.
they are entertaining, you know? And I really craved for that, you know, over there. I was like, sometimes you go out for what was supposed to be an amazing party and everyone's just so serious. And I'm like, where are the
Where's the
goofballs?
jokers?
You
Bring out the
know?
clown.
Bring out the clowns.
Enough from the clown.
But then you would spot some Aussies and you'd be like, there they are. And you gravitate, you know? And it'd be like having a mad one, you know? And the only other people, like, there was a lot of amazing people, but the other people that I really feel on that same level was my friends from Miami, from space, you know? Gave me a little bit of that kind of energy, and it was just so refreshing. I was like, oh, thank God. Yeah, so it's good to be back.
Good to have you home.
Good to have you back.
Yeah.
Good to be back,
Big
boys.
summer ahead. Looking forward to see what you've got planned for the new year.
Thanks for having me on, and appreciate the invite.
Pleasure.
Thank you for coming back on.
Thank you.